Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we blend casual conversations with insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets. Okay, so we just got back from the Snapdragon Summit 2025. And wow, if you're even thinking about getting a new phone or laptop in, say, 2026, you really need to tune into this. Qualcomm dropped some major chip upgrades. We're talking the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 for phones and then the X2 Elite and Extreme for laptops.
Yeah, and this isn't just, the usual small step up. This feels different. The whole strategy seems built around pushing AI capabilities like way further than before. It could really change how we actually use these things day to day.
Exactly. So that's our mission today, right? We need to unpack these big performance numbers Qualcomm threw out and figure out what they mean for you, like in the real world. Plus, there's some big competitive stuff brewing. Apple, the PC market, it's all connected. Let's kick things off with the phones, the mobile side.
Let's do it. Phones first.
All right, Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. It's built on this new 3rd Gen Orion CPU architecture. We heard the hype. But what's the actual story? Is it really bringing speed back to the top tier?
It absolutely looks like a major step forward architecturally. The claims they made, pretty bold, but the early tests seem to back them up. Compared to the last gen, you're looking at a solid 20% boost in general CPU stuff, 23% better graphics performance, and here's the kicker. They did this while also making it up to 35% more power efficient.
Well, hold on. 35% more efficient. That's not trivial. That's huge for battery life, obviously, but also for keeping things cool when you push it hard, right?
Exactly. Sustained performance. That's always the challenge in these thin phones.
Okay, but let's cut to the chase. The comparison everyone wants to hear. Apple's A19 Pro and the iPhone 17 Pro Max, that chip made some waves. How does this new Snapdragon stack up, like head-to-head?
It's shaping up to be a real counterpunch. Apple closed the gap recently with the A19 Pro, but based on these initial benchmarks, the 8 Elite Gen 5 seems to be pulling ahead again, and pretty decisively in some areas.
Specifically, I saw that multi-core score. It looked like a huge jump.
Correct. Yeah. Geekbench multi-core. That test really shows how well a chip handles, like background stuff and heavy multitasking. The Snapdragon reference device hit 12,208. The A19 Pro, 9,968. That's a significant gap. It suggests that come early 2026, the top Android phones might feel noticeably snappier again under heavy load compared to the iPhone.
And graphics, too. What about gaming?
Yeah, equally interesting there, that demanding 3D Mark Solar Bay test. The Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 managed 55.31 frames per second. The A19 Pro was at 46.63 TPs. So roughly a 20% advantage for the Snapdragon in rendering graphics.
Okay, so for gamers, that means potentially smoother frame rates, maybe better visuals when things get intense. Qualcomm seems to be reclaiming that graphics crown.
It really looks like it. But you mentioned efficiency, and that ties straight into the biggest theme of the whole summit, AI. They kept talking about something called agentic AI. Sounds a bit like marketing jargon, maybe, but what does it actually mean for someone using the phone?
Agentic AI, yeah, it sounds very futuristic. I mean, AI on phones today is often just like a faster search or a slightly smarter voice assistant, isn't it? What makes this agentic thing different?
So the key idea is moving from just reacting to your requests to being proactive, and crucially, doing it across multiple apps. Instead of just answering a question you ask, the chip learns from your habits, right there on the device, anticipates what you might need next. And then it can actually carry out complex tasks that involve several different apps without you having to manually jump between them.
Okay, give me an example, like a real-world thing.
Sure. Let's say you're planning a trip. Today, you might, search for flights, find one, copy the details, paste them into your calendar, maybe look up directions to the hotel separately. With agentic AI, the idea is you could give one prompt, like, find me a flight to London next Tuesday, book a rental car for 3 days, and add a calendar event with the booking info. And the chip itself coordinates with the flight app, the rental app, the calendar app, and just does it.
Huh. That actually sounds useful. And that's possible because the AI processing part of the chip, the NPU, got a big speed boost.
A huge boost. Yeah, the NPU itself is 37% faster. But the really telling number is the token processing speed. The last chip did about 70 tokens per second. This new one, 220 tokens per second.
Wow, okay, that's more than 3 times faster.
Exactly. And what that means for you, the listener, is that AI tasks feel instantaneous. That slight delay you sometimes get with AI assistants, going from 70 to 220 tokens per second basically makes that delay disappear. It feels immediate, like flipping a switch.
And we're already seeing phones announced with this, right? The Honor Magic 8 Pro is using the 8 Elite Gen 5. And it even has a dedicated AI button. That suggests they're really leaning into this agentic stuff.
They are. And Qualcomm also kept hammering the pro media angle. This new chip supports something called Advanced Professional Video, or APV, guarantees near lossless quality. But maybe even more significant for creators is the move to a 20-bit ISP pipeline.
Okay, hang on. 20-bit ISP. ISP is image signal processor. Why should we care about that bit depth number?
Right, so the ISP is basically the brain behind the camera. It handles all the light and color information coming from the sensor, moving from, say, a 16-bit or 18-bit pipeline to 20-bit. It massively increases the dynamic range. We're talking 4 times the range between the absolute darkest darks and brightest brights the camera can capture.
4 times, okay.
Yeah, so for anyone serious about shooting video on their phone, this means way better detail in challenging light, like bright skies and deep shadows in the same shot. And it gives you much more flexibility later when you're editing and color grading. It makes the phone a much more serious tool for professional-looking video.
Gotcha. So the mobile story is clear. Top-tier performance is back, maybe even ahead of Apple for now, and the AI is getting genuinely smarter and more integrated. If the phone is becoming this powerful creative tool and smart assistant, the laptop needs to evolve too, right? Which brings us nicely to the PC chips, the X2 Elite and X2 Elite Extreme.
Exactly. And this is where the strategy gets really interesting because Qualcomm is making 2 huge promises for laptops.
Yeah.
Incredible battery life and AI power that kind of leaves the current competition in the dust.
Multi-day battery life, that's the dream, isn't it? Especially for travelers. We hear claims like this a lot, though. The previous X Elite chips were already really good. Some laptops hit like 23 hours. How are they squeezing even more out with this X2 generation?
A big part of it is the move to a more advanced manufacturing process, 3 nanometers. It lets them pack more power into a smaller space and use less electricity doing it. So Qualcomm's claim is up to 31% faster CPU performance if you give it the same amount of power as the old chip. Or, flip it around, it needs up to 43% less power than the previous X Elite to do the same work. That's a massive efficiency gain.
43% less power.
Wow.
Wow. That's some serious engineering. And that's how they get closer to that multi-day claim, even in thin designs.
Precisely. But it's not just about sipping power. They're also pushing the performance ceiling way up, especially with the Extreme version. That one's got an 18-core CPU and a, frankly, ridiculously powerful NPU for AI tasks.
Right, the Hexagon NPU. It hits 80 TOPS, trillions of operations per second. Now, Microsoft's requirement for these new Copilot Plus PCs is 40 TOPS. Why did Qualcomm basically double that minimum requirement right off the bat? Seems like overkill.
Well, it's likely about future-proofing and headroom. Think about it. That 40 TOPS might be enough for one Copilot Plus feature running well, like live background blur or generating an image locally. But what if you want to do more at once? Having 80 TOPS means the system could potentially handle live translation and live captions during a video call and maybe other background AI tasks simultaneously, all without breaking a sweat or slowing things down. It helps ensure that the whole AI experience feels smooth and integrated, not like a feature you can only use one at a time.
That makes sense. And for creative pros listening, this raw power translates directly into saving time, doesn't it? The reports mentioned Adobe apps, Photoshop, Lightroom, Premiere Pro are already optimized for Snapdragon. They're seeing speed boosts up to 47%.
Yeah, that optimization is key. It means the software is actually built to take advantage of the specific strengths of the Orion CPU and that powerful Hexagon NPU working together. It's not just brute force. And yeah, seeing things like 3D modeling and image editing being up to 64% faster, that's huge. That's potentially hours saved every week just waiting for renders or edits to complete.
And they're not ignoring gamers either. The X2 Elite Extreme delivering up to 2.2 times faster gaming, 4K resolution at 144 Hz support. And they even partnered with Razer to bring the Razer Synapse software to Windows on Snapdragon. That sounds serious.
That Razer partnership is pretty significant, actually. It signals they're not just aiming for productivity users anymore. They want a piece of the mainstream gaming market, especially in these thin and light laptops where powerful graphics usually mean bulky, heavy machines. This chip performance could challenge the need for a separate, dedicated GPU for a lot of people.
It definitely gives them options, which I guess explains some of those wild concept devices they showed off, like super thin laptops, okay, but a tiny circular mini PC and a computer module the size of a couple of CD cases.
Right. It shows massive confidence in how cool and efficient these chips run. They're basically saying, you don't need a big box for big power anymore. But for all this amazing hardware potential, we absolutely have to talk about the software side, because maybe the biggest news, the most potentially disruptive thing from the whole summit, wasn't silicon. It was about the OS.
Ah, yes. That definitely turned some heads. Google and Qualcomm are officially working together to merge Android and Chrome OS onto a single platform for PCs.
This is huge, potentially game-changing. Google's stated goal is pretty ambitious. Bring their Gemini AI models, the entire Android app ecosystem, and that massive Android developer base directly onto PCs. Create one unified system that just works, whether you're on a phone, a tablet, or a laptop.
Qualcomm CEO, Cristiano Amon, seemed pretty thrilled about it. He called the software incredible and said it delivers on the vision of convergence of mobile and PC. But why do this now? Chrome OS is big in school, sure, but it's always struggled a bit in the wider workplace, hasn't it?
That's exactly the point, according to analysis from folks like IDC. Chrome OS's big weakness has always been its reliance on having a good internet connection, and sometimes a clunky experience with apps not designed for laptops. By merging it with the Android Foundation, which is designed for offline use and has millions of native apps, Google is trying to fix those core problems. They want to create a platform that's fully functional offline and runs all the apps people already use and develop for Android.
So it's a direct challenge to Windows, really, which still dominates the PC operating system world.
Oh, absolutely. It's a long game, though. Think about the user pipeline. Kids grow up using Chrome OS in schools. Traditionally, when they enter the workforce or go to college, they switch to Windows or Mac OS. Google wants to stop that switch. They want to keep those users on the Google platform with all their data and habits right through their adult lives. It's a way to potentially erode Windows' dominance from the ground up, generationally.
And the timing is really interesting, too. This merged OS is apparently targeting a rollout around the same time these X2 Elite chips launch, first half of 2026. So it's not just a software idea, it's hardware and software coming together with a clear strategy.
Yeah, that's the big theme here. Convergence. You see performance convergence, with mobile chips now seriously challenging, even beating the top laptop chips in some ways, or at least Apple's mobile chips. And you see platform convergence, with Android making a serious play for the traditional PC space dominated by Windows. These new Snapdragon chips, they're not just faster processors. They feel like the engine's designed specifically to power these massive shifts we're going to see unfold in 2026.
And that really is the key takeaway for you listening. Your next phone, your next laptop, it's likely going to be fundamentally more capable, especially with this proactive AI stuff, thanks to this new silicon generation. We saw the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 pull ahead of the iPhone 17 Pro Max in those early benchmarks. What does that mean for Apple's next chips? How quickly will they respond and close that gap again? That's definitely something to think about as we look ahead. Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed this episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.